I feel like the problem is not women, right? It's not the girls in our community. I feel like it is the men in our community, right? And the boys in our community. So where's the problem? Let's bring it down all the way to the nitty gritty. Where does it start? Because the way I see it is that life, you chose that life, right? I'm from the sincerest part of my heart. I try not to victim blame, but at the same time, two people come from one household, a boy and a girl. The girl somehow gets to university, does her thing, gets married, whatnot. She's going through that path. Then you got boy in the same family, same parents, same circumstances. Somehow it takes a whole different path. So yes, as a young man, and I think you're in how old are you, may I ask?
23.
23. So what is it that these boys, where does the problem start?
Well, from personal experience and what I've seen throughout my years is that it all starts basically when you're young. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about probably when you're in high school, mm-hmm. middle school. It's how you come up,
right.
The environment around you, schools, stuff like that. But what I'm trying to say is that it all starts off in your household, how you're treated, how you've been brought up. If you come from a low income family and you come from a poor environment where you see a lot of violence and stuff like that, it causes a major effect, and basically that's where I see a lot of problems coming up.
Got it.
Where a low income family with poor environment where there's a lot of violence and stuff like that.
Right.
That has a huge impact in our youth.
Right.
Major impact.
The experiences are very different. Although we do come from the same household, I can confidently say, having 4 brothers, that my experience in the education system versus theirs was completely different. Already, there is a label on black boys and then as well as Somali boys, right? And then...
What's that label? Tell me about it. Why is your experience different than yours?
For men, they're labelized. Boys are labelized to be aggressive. Mm-hmm. Also, you have to take a look into the migration patterns. We came early 1990s, post Civil War or during Civil War. Sorry, and you're having kids funneled into the education system. In the education system, you're having these kids admitted into ESL when primarily their first language is English.
Got it.
Right? So there's a flaw in our education system.
Okay. So he's labeled right there and there.
Already, doesn't know what's going on, either dumb, has ADHD or ADD. And I'm pretty sure, half the men in this room can say that they were told that they had ADD or ADHD.
I was, actually. Thanks for bringing that up.
No, and that's
I really was, yeah.
And that's a huge thing, and no one discusses that. And I think that there's a lot of contributing factors to it that are not being discussed about in the public, not just within our community, but as a whole. Okay. So they're getting labeled from a very young age. Absolutely.
Okay. And what's the consequence of being labeled? So once they get labeled, what's happening here?
Okay. For instance, my nephew in school was told by his teacher that he had no hope and that he would have to redo his grade. He's in grade 2.
What?
Yes. Exactly. So, with that being said, that's an impressionable age.
Absolutely.
And your education system, you're spending 8 to 4 in this system, in this institution, right? And your teachers have a huge impact on how you perceive yourself. Mm-hmm. And if a teacher is telling you that you are not going to amount to anything or you're not smart enough, that definitely takes a toll.
Yes.
On the person's esteem.
Of course.
So it starts there. So there's that one chip, right? And
listen, if you call me dumb 5 times, over and over and over and over, 5 days straight, by the 6th one, I'm going to believe that I'm dumb.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. And so if this is happening years after years after years after years, by the time they are at an age of a teenagerhood, right? Yeah. So 15, 16, that's when those are the young ages where the problems start happening. Yeah. I could see how that can contribute to the actions, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so labels. It starts early, right? I don't want to say the system is against us. I don't. A lot of people think, in terms of, it's very easy to say that. But after having that conversation, is the system against us? Is it set up? Let me reiterate that. Is it set up for us to fail?
I wouldn't say fail because that would be a pessimistic outlook. Okay. But I do think that there are certain barriers placed in front of certain bodies that shape and mold their experiences that manifest the choice that they make.
Got it.
Very well said, yeah.
Right.
So, but if you're asking, how does it evolve into, the gun violence. Nobody wakes
Yeah.
up one day and says, yeah, this is the route I'm taking. I'm going all in, strapped, everything. Some people have the awakening, like, how did I get here? It's just day by day, you knock down your own personal boundaries
Okay.
to cut corners.
Right.
So you're not, like, I came from that. I
Right.
went through that whole gun violence, everything. So you're gonna, like, you knock down personal, but you're okay with this, then you're okay with this, then you're okay with this.
Okay.
Now
Okay
you're-
with what? Like break it down for me.
Okay, so we start with stealing.
Stealing.
You
Okay.
steal. I was a dirty little thief.
Right.
I had candy,
Okay.
fucking video games, whatever you want. I was, you know what I mean?
Right.
Toys. Switch to sneakers, to jeans, hats,
Right.
everything. I wanted what I could not afford in my crib.
Right.
The necessities were there.
Did you know it was wrong?
Yeah, I felt, I rationalized it by, they're not gonna catch me. You know what I mean? And
okay.
this is where it's gonna stay.
Okay.
Snowball effect. You get to selling weed.
Right.
You get to, you know what I mean? You graduate.
Right.
Because once you're okay with one thing, it becomes second nature.
Right.
Once you get into that world, and it's all greed. This is all greed.
Okay.
It starts off a little like innocent greed. I don't know if that's a thing.
Right.
It really becomes greed after a while. So, I want to have the same car that Adam Boy has. His mom gave it to him. I can't have that.
Right.
So I'm gonna cut corners.
So when do you stop? Did you ever think to yourself? And I'm directing this at you because you were about that life at one point or another.
Yeah.
When did you? Was there a time at all that you said, "All right, this is enough. I'm kind of done. I'm over it."
That came a lot later than it should have. The thing is, people want everybody to realize. These guys need to realize what they're doing, and oh my God, do they know how crazy they are and how crazy they look? You don't know how deep in the abyss this person is. You know what I'm saying? For them, it's two things they're thinking of.
Right.
Don't get caught with it and don't get caught without it. That means don't get caught by the police,
Right.
what you're doing, and don't get caught by the next dude who's going to put bullets in you.
Whoa.
Because that's what we're living, and it takes one. So it starts off innocent. So as soon as the murder game gets laid down one time, everybody's on alert.
Yeah.
So a lot of these murders are preventative measures. He's coming to get me.
So get him before he gets me.
Straight up. Cut the head off the snake. And then it's just a blood feud.
Survival.
Bloodlust. So, and going back to when somebody says, oh, a person passes away and, there's no, it's a 1 week, 2 week, Allah rahamu, and then Allah subhanahu. That's because the rest of the dudes are focused on arming up and saying, yo, I'm not going next. And it's not where.
So what does that mean? I'm not going next, therefore I'm going to get the next.
Yes.
Oh.
So I'm sending bullets to that side because they sent it to this side.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So survival doesn't mean. When I hear survival, I want to blanket myself, right? That's what the way I would survive is blanket myself. But the way they're surviving, and the way their method is get the person who wants to get you.
So it's a tit for tat, and it gets so big, and it gets to a place where it's so crazy, and everybody's like, "How did we get here?" It's people are killing each other that barely know each other now.
Okay.
To the point just because affiliation. So now, yo, fuck this nigga, man.
Yeah. Boom.
And you know what? It sounds crazy, but that's logical because that guy's gonna do it to you.
Got it.
That's a fact. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
so we had a couple weeks ago we did an episode and we had a mother call in and her concern was we have great campaigns that are just like yours. There have been before and there still now, right? She wants to see parents. Let's go back to the parental influence in this whole situation. I have two questions for you. First, we'll start off with this. What do parents have that, like, what's their influence? What's their part in all of this? Let's start off again, early age.
Parents need to start. I mean, okay, we talked earlier about how, it's always the guys who end up in this. And there are possibly a good number of reasons why guys end up going down this road, right? But I mean, if you want to bring it back to what can parents do differently, well, what they can start doing differently or start doing the same is treat guys and girls exactly the same way. So place some of the, I wouldn't call it barriers, but for example, when you got a guy growing up and he's allowed to be out later, he's got a different curfew, let's just say we're a little bit more lax in terms of how we treat the boy. We need to start being the same, because when we expect a lot from our girls, we need to start expecting a lot from the guys, right? And at the same time, you know what? We can't just point fingers on it started there. It's an actual, like, what do you call it? An avalanche of things that pick up and start to build, right? So when a kid growing up in school is told by the teachers, you can't do this, or if they go to their counselor and they want to sign up for university and they're told, maybe, you know what, you don't want to do this, maybe take the general stream so you can look at doing arts program. It really does start from there. You got people who just don't even believe in you.
Right.
Right?
Why do we treat them differently? Going back.